Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Georgiman and I'm your friendly neighborhood anime and manga fan. I love all things anime and all things manga, and I'm here today to talk about Oshi no Ko episode 10. So, what did I think about this week's episode? To be honest, I thought this week's episode was fantastic, and I think that this show is wrapping up to be one of the best shows, in a couple of years, because this show was fantastic, and there's only one more episode after this. So if the show ends up having a fantastic finale, then I think this show, might go down as an instant classic, because this show has been consistently quality from episode to episode. And I think that episodes like this are very important, to develop characters like Kana and even Ruby to a certain extent. We get to see a lot of them in this episode, and, once again proves why they're so great and why we love them as said characters. Now, before I go any further with this week's episode, I just wanted to give you guys a quick reminder to make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you guys can be up to date with all my Oshi no Ko as well as all my anime and manga content that I'll be providing in this channel. It really helps out a lot, and I would really appreciate it if you guys could subscribe to my YouTube channel. So if you guys could, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get into this week's episode. So this week's episode picks up pretty much where we left off last week's episode, which is, the girls, Ma'am and Ruby, they're trying to convince Kana to join, and be the leader of the squad. And Kana is not having none of it. She's like, so you guys really thought that you guys can just peer pressure me by making a video and just making me the leader like that? And then, she kind of goes off on them. It's like, man, you guys are so dumb. Like, why don't you understand? Like, no, like nobody is going to take a shot at me. And then they're like, why? What's so wrong with you? And then she just goes and tells them like, well, listen, I had my little Pepper song. It was great and all, but as I continued to try to pursue, my music career, it flopped. I wasn't selling enough albums, and it just kind of went downhill. And she's like, I don't want to, drag you guys down with my baggage. And Ruby automatically and Ma'am, they're like, no, dude, trust me. Like, you got to try it at least. And then, eventually Ruby's like, come on, dude, you have to do it. And, eventually Kana gives into the peer pressure, and she's like, man, and then she, you see them kind of rehearsing their dances, and she's like, man, how did I get convinced? Like, I hate these type of girls because they're so good at convincing me. So we get to see a lot of, a soft side of Kana, because, we know that Kana beats herself up in the sense that she is very, hard on herself. And we know that she has a lot of, insecurities, and we know that she feels like, she has a chip in her shoulder. And I feel like, what's going to happen right now with this group is going to be able to finally lift her spirits to, to new heights, to make sure that, she pursues, her dreams without being, held back with her own insecurities. So continuing from that, we see that the manager, she's like, okay, guys, we're going to put you into shape because right now you guys kind of suck. So I brought a personal trainer slash, influencer to help you guys out. And then kind of like, wait a minute. Could it be? And then you just see Pion and the return of the king, the goat himself. Pion is back, or so we think. But what we see is that Pion shows up. It's like, hey, I'm gonna put you guys into shape, and you just see a little montage of Pion just kind of going off on them, and they go on these exercise runs, and he's like, you guys gotta practice your dances. You gotta keep going and don't give up, even if you're gassed out. And the girls, they're just like, it's exhausted, and specifically Kana, she's like, oh my god, this is so sick. Like, I'm so sick of this. This is so tiring. And what ends up happening is eventually, Kana is by herself and just kind of just vibing in this balcony, just kind of seeing the city, and she eventually, Pion shows up, and Pion is like, hey, what's up? And Kana's like, man, like, what, like, why are you even talking to me? Like, leave me alone. And Pion is like, you're really talented. Like, I'm a very big fan of you. And she's like, you don't know anything about me, dude. And then he's like, no, I know enough about you. I know that you hate that song. I know that you hate the Pepper song. And she's like, how do you know that? It's like, to be honest, I honestly hated that song too. I hate eating peppers. I hate eating all that. So I could just tell. And then, Kana is like, whoa. And they start having like a nice conversation. And it feels like, they're really vibing. And it comes to a point where Kana herself is like, you know what? I might be starting to fall for this guy. He treats me nice. He isn't like a jerk like Aqua, dating other chicks and, turning me to the side. He's actually, taking the initiative to, have a conversation with me, because at the end of the day, we know that Kana does, really like Aqua. She has a huge crush on him, but it becomes to the point where, she feels unappreciated. So she's starting to rely more on Pion, because Pion is actually treating her very, very well. So she starts having a little crush on him, and it's cute because eventually, they're doing the rehearsal, and she, he gives her a water bottle, and she's like, oh my god, thank you. And she's like, oh, blushing. And we obviously know that she has a crush on Pion now. And what ends up happening pretty much going forward after that is that we actually find out that the person that has been, exercising them and making sure that they get all this training hasn't actually been Pion. It's actually been Aqua disguised as Pion. And we see that Pion, the real Pion, is actually, somewhere in a beach, just, relaxing in a vacation. And Aqua has been, disguising himself as Pion this entire time. So was a crazy reveal. I did not see that coming, but in retrospect, I did see a line where Mam did say that, Pyeon doesn't look as buff in person. I actually thought he was way more buff in, the videos, but I guess he was more slim, and that would make sense because obviously Aqua is not built like that. So if anybody picked that up, I think I gotta give you guys props because I personally didn't pick that up. I thought I was like, whoa, this is the real Pyeon, but at the end of the day, it wasn't. It was Aqua disguised as Pyeon. So while all that is happening, we see that Ruby can't go to sleep because the big festival is the day, the next day, and we see that she can't go to sleep. She's so excited, and Kana's like, dude, go to sleep, shut up. And then we see that Ruby's like, no, I can't, because I've always dreamed about this moment. And we see a little flashback of when she was the girl in the hospital, before she passed away and she became Ruby, her previous life. And we see that how much she was in misery, how she felt like she was just gonna die alone in a bed. But you saw that I rekindle her passion for living. And we see that if it wasn't for I, she wouldn't have had the passion of becoming a dancer or pursuing an idol career. And I thought this was a great moment for Ruby because up to this point in the story, Ruby has been taking kind of a backseat in the story. So it was very important for us as the audience to finally see a little bit of Ruby and get a little bit more inside of what she's all about. And I think this episode really captured Ruby's personality to a T, and what she brings to the group. She brings the heart, because at the end of the day, she brings the passion, and she brings the heart to the group. She's the one that I feel, for me at least personally, I feel like she's the one that's gluing everything together, because she's the one that really wanted this to happen to begin with, and she's the one with the most passion. Because to be honest, I think that while Kana is the talent and Mam is the one that influencing the social media nets and all that, I think that at the end of the day, Ruby is the heart of the group. She's the one that kind of gives the passion that rekindles all of their passions. And I think that this episode really captured, how important Ruby is to the group as a whole. So what happens after all that, Kana just tells Ruby like, hey, I can't go to sleep. I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go downstairs and, get something because I can't go to sleep. And what she finds out is that, Aqua is, Pyeon, because he was, taking the helmet off. And this was, Kana's just like, oh my god, I can't believe this dude is Pyeon. Like, disguising himself as Pyeon. Like, this is insane. I really falling for this guy. Like, oh my god, I can't believe it. And she starts just contemplating her life choices at that point. And it's hilarious because she eventually, because of all the stress, she couldn't go to sleep. Now, while all that is happening, she's like, okay, I'm gonna take a nap because I'm exhausted and I need all the rest I can get. And she's taking a nap, and then they go to this place, the festival, and they gotta, it's very crowded, so they gotta kind of scramble and find somewhere to change. And after she separates from the group, to do her own thing, we see that she's kind of like, second guessing herself, in the sense that she's like, I don't want to be a burden to the girls. Like, I don't want to drag them down. And we see a backstory, of Kana just pretty much after her Pepper song. We see pretty much a POV of her, being rejected. And we see that she was at signings of her CDs, and it wasn't selling. And, she kept pursuing the music, but it wasn't selling and nobody was paying attention to her. So she eventually gave up on it. And she started thinking like, maybe I'm not a good enough singer. And which was completely incorrect, because she is a fantastic singer. And I think that, what really helped her, rekindle that passion was definitely Ruby, because at that point in time, Ruby walks into Kana and she goes, oh my god, I'm having like so many, I'm so nervous right now, I need to talk to somebody. And Kana is like, oh, well, calm down. And Ruby's like, are you not like scared, or are you not like feeling the pressure? He's like, oh no, I'm fine. And then Ruby's like, no, stop lying. I know that you're feeling the pressure, because I'm feeling the pressure, and you're also a high school girl, and you cannot hide all of this. You love, lying. You obviously lie all the time how you really feel. So for once, just be honest. And Kana's like, yeah, I do. I have a lot of fear, because I don't want to bring you guys down because of my own, incompetence when it comes to, being a singer and, leading this group. And Ruby just goes, no, I'm putting my faith in you, and I believe that we will succeed. And if we don't succeed, guess what? We're gonna fail together, so we're all gonna be there for each other. And that's the sole thing that rekindles Kana's passion, and just makes her go like, you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe I should just go with the flow and try my hardest. And we cut to the next scene, which is, they're getting dressed, they're ready to perform, and the episode ends with pretty much Kana wearing the outfit and just being like, I got this. So we definitely know that next week's episode is the last of the season, so I'm expecting it to be a huge blowout when it comes to their performance. I think they're going to absolutely kill it, and I think Kana's going to prove, all her doubters wrong. I think that Kana's going to prove once again, how much of a talent she is when it comes to singing, and how, you should give her a shot, and how you should always pursue your dreams, and, forget what people say, and, forget all the numbers and the sales when it comes to the music industry. As long as you have a passion for it and you're, you have any talent, just keep pursuing it. And I think that next week's episode, in the finale, this is going to be the big blowout that B Kamachi needs, and this will be, their gateway to becoming successful as a group. And I think that Kana is going to be the main focus of why they became successful. But with all that being said, I absolutely love this week's episode, and I cannot wait to see the finale of this show because I've been absolutely loving it. And to be honest, I'm kind of sad in the fact that this show is ending because I've been loving this show week to week. But, you know, I'm sure that we're going to get a season 2 because of how successful the show has been. But still, I really looking forward to the finale because I honestly think if the show ends and it's a great finale, I think that this will go down, like I said earlier, as an instant classic. But with all that being said, what did you guys think about this week's episode? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys thought it was alright? Whatever you guys thought, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, thank you so much for sticking all the way to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more Oshi no Ko, as well as more anime and manga content in the near future. But yeah, with that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.